And there we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It is Friday. It is Friday. Glad you could join us here today. Welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what's going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you joining us for the live portion. And if you're listening somewhere else and you wanted to get in on the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Coffee Talk on YouTube. And that is at Coffee Talk Live, or alternatively at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. And you can always find me with cats. Hello, Granny Smith. Granny Smith sitting on the desk, keeping me company. Hello, dear. One of our rescues. Very friendly, at least with me. She was not friendly with the workers at Paws. She went absolutely nuts at Paws and tried to hurt people. But anyways, I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people that have chimed in on the live portion. I see Helter is with us today. Dragon is here. Brian, Jeff, Raccoon, Fluke Man, Johnny is here, and Lucky. Hello, everyone, and hello to everyone else who is listening and not able to respond or just chooses not to. Hope your day is going well. Hope your weekend ends up all right, as we're just getting onto the cusp of it for most people, although there are people who do have to work on the weekends. Not shown in the thumbnail. I will get onto the thumbnail, but not shown in the thumbnail, but was brought up. And that, of course, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, was that statue in New York, which is getting a lot of negative attention. A lot of negative attention going towards that statue in New York for a variety of reasons. And someone had commented yesterday, they had commented on the video after the fact, after the live stream that is, that there's a lot of hate being thrown around about this statue. And yeah, there is. There is a lot of hate being thrown around about this statue, and I'll tell you why. Unlike myself, and it's not like I'm so great, okay, but I do know how to articulate myself. So I can talk about it and I can make my point. And importantly, and obviously, the real function of this statue is to stir people up. The person who designed this statue and put it there, and the things that they said and the reasons why they claim they put that statue there, is designed to trigger people, even in a negative fashion. He wanted to set people off. And I can sit here and I can talk about it because I can see through that very clearly. A lot of people can also see through it, and they know that it's just for controversy, but they don't know how to articulate themselves. So all you get from them is an attack. That's all they know. They're going to get nasty and ugly and vulgar, and they're going to say horrible things, and they're going to type horrible things because it's socially acceptable and because most people just don't know any better. Okay? They don't know any better. So that's why there's a lot of hate going towards this. See, Sven has joined us. And ARN is here. He says, church in Peru, the new pope worked and is next to underground tunnels the Mayans found and built over. Heard there's a hidden floor entrance inside the one church to the tunnels. Interesting. Wouldn't surprise me. Luke Man is here. He says there are several of those statues. There's one in the UK. Yeah, a lot of really ugly statues nowadays. And Johnny said, wouldn't that be classified as inciting violence, which is against the law? Yeah, but you, it's being done very subtly, Johnny. Plus, no actual violence has occurred. He's just making people angry with the statue, she's showing her worth standing off against two white men, as the artist put it. And the two white men happen to be prominent historical figures in the New York area. But looking at the article, and this is a PM Culture article, statue of overweight black woman inspired by, this is why I wanted to talk about this today, inspired by Michelangelo's David, according to the artist. And there it is. There's the statue, and there's the artist. And so to add insult to injury, this guy has the nerve to compare his statue to, and it's Michelangelo, by the way, to Michelangelo's David. It's on par with Michelangelo's David, obviously inspired by Michelangelo's statue of David, is what he's claiming here. Is that connection still on? Because mine is scrolling. I don't know if you can still see the image or the story. There it is. This is that is a masterpiece. That is a masterpiece. Michelangelo's David. Everything Michelangelo did was a masterpiece. And what we get nowadays is this bronze garbage. I mean, it's not bad in the sense that you don't know what it is. Obviously, it's a woman. You can tell it's a black woman. She has a physique that is realistic and features that are realistic. But it's extremely rudimentary in many regards. There's no detail to it. There's no detail. I mean, Michelangelo's David, you could study it for days. There's no comparison. This guy's out of his mind. It says social media was abuzz on Wednesday after video and photos showing a statue of an overweight black woman that has been erected in Times Square in New York. The 12-foot tall sculpture by London artist Thomas J. Price. You couldn't have found an American artist to do something? Called Grounded in the Stars, will be on display from April 29th to June 17th. Where are you going to put it after that? Times Square stands as an iconic symbol. Oh, this is Price talking. Times Square stands as an iconic symbol and site of convergence, uniting people from all walks of life, individual stories and experiences intersecting on a global platform. The intention of my public works is to become part of the place they inhabit and its physical, material history, as well as the visitors that pass through and around the location, no matter how fleeting, said Price about his work. I don't know what he sounds like, so the ads on this are causing a lot of problems. I got to close it. ARN says Michelangelo's Apocrypha has a Nephilim with 6 fingers holding a book. Woman next to him is supposed to be Statue of Liberty early on. And Puck thinks it's a fat statue. Yeah, Johnny says you can see the image. Okay. Sven says we don't have our own racist artists that can stereotype people in statue form. I'm sure we do. I mean, they made that mess, and someone commented on that also after the podcast. That mess in Boston with the arms. Remember, I talked about it last year. With it's supposed to be Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife's arms encircling each other, and it's massive. It's a massive bronze statue sitting in Boston Gardens, and it looks like a pair of hands holding like a big eggplant. I mean, you look at that, you don't know what the hell it is. It's like, this is art? I don't know what I'm looking at. Dude, give me a freaking break. Give me a break. Seriously, give us some art. Art should imitate life. So our life is that dismal, that gray, that snarky, that confused. Johnny says it'll be there until June 17th. You mean it couldn't stay until Juneteenth? Maybe they're thinking Juneteenth will get canceled. Well, Juneteenth is supposed to be a Texas thing, and it got made national just to pander, just like February being Black History Month. It's just to pander. It doesn't have any actual. I mean, people don't even know what the hell it is, anyways. Juneteenth. The only reason anybody gives a shit about it is if it's made a federal holiday, they get the day off. I'll take the day off. It's just nobody really knows what it is or cares. But yeah, that was a Texas thing. It's like, how did a Texas specific holiday end up being, or celebration or acknowledgement, however you want to look at it, end up being national? Ask the Democrats, because they love throwing stuff like that out there to pander to people, to make it appear like they care. It's all about what's on its face value, even though there's nothing underneath. It's hollow. It's empty. It's rotten inside. Oh, you want to be celebrated? Here's a month, Black History Month, February. Here you go. And then the history that they learn is all screwed up. If they learn anything. I've told the story about my sister and George Washington Carver before, because she had this paper that she had written for school about him inventing peanut butter. And she had the one paper, and she would submit it every year. So she submitted it all through junior high and high school, the same exact paper on during Black History Month, and she'd get an A every time. And I was like, you do know he didn't invent peanut butter, right? It's like, that's not accurate at all. And the thing is, that goes to show you how little anybody gives a damn about any of that, because the teachers just rubber stamped her paper, because they didn't know anyway. They don't know anything about the guy. He developed like a bunch of uses for peanut oil to try to encourage manufacturers to use it more, so that they could use peanuts to rotate crops, because cash crops were killing the landscape. It depletes the soil too much. Tobacco, wheat, cotton, it kills the soil. So he was like, yeah, you got to rotate your, which is a rule of thumb anyways. If you farm for real, you got to rotate your crops. And he was like, yeah, rotate it with, for example, peanuts. Here's a bunch of things you could do with peanuts. Not peanut butter. They already had peanut butter. But the schools that she went to, they didn't even know. What the hell are they teaching there? Yeah. Now, thumbnail time. We talked about him a little yesterday because he was voted on yesterday, and that's Robert Prevost, who is now Leo the 14th. Leo the 14th. So here you go. New York Post article, Pope Leo the 14th, in his own words, the pontiff on abortion, climate change, homosexuality, and capital punishment. Okay. And the reason I wanted to look at this is because these guys, what the New York Post is showing you here is what he said on this in the past, and I'm waiting to see what he says now, because they tend to change their tune after the fact. I've mentioned this about the previous Pope, the one that just passed away, that he was extremely vocal about church officials, priests, bishops, cardinals, whoever, shall we say, taking advantage of children. You know what I mean. I have to be careful because this is ScrewTube after all. He was extremely vocal about that all the way up until he became Pope. And then he didn't have shit to say. And I'm just wanting to see if this guy sticks to his guns about things that he said in the past. So it's interesting to look now and see what he has said before and see if he still sticks to that. ARN says Dust Bowl is a great documentary. Needed the Army Corps to come in and stop the huge dust storms. Yeah, it was. You couldn't keep it out of your house. Dust would blow in the damn keyholes. And I'll put that up for all people about the Juneteenth. So here we go. New York Post article. Newly elected Pope Leo XIV is widely considered to be soft-spoken and cautious. Aren't they all? Because they all look like this. Look at the photograph. They all look like this. It's like an acting school trains them how to look meek. You notice this? Oh, I'm humble and meek and pious. And again, I don't know this guy, but it seems to me they all have this expression on their face. Have you ever noticed that? Just pointing that out. Okay, but has not been shy in recent years about speaking out on hot button issues, from the teaching of gender ideology in schools to climate change. I don't want to hear about climate change from anybody. Known as Robert Francis Prevost prior to his election Thursday as the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, the 69-year-old Chicago native views on several controversial topics can be gleaned from past social media posts and reposts, including public remarks. Okay? So like his predecessor, Francis, Leo is a strong believer that the faithful have a responsibility to take care of the planet. The then president of the Pontifical Commission for Latin America and prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops argued in November of last year that it's time to move from words to action on the environmental crisis. And he's quoted as saying, "Dominion over nature should not become tyrannical," arguing man's relationship with the environment must be a relationship of reciprocity. And I agree with that. But I also know these guys are extremely political, and they get, and especially like Francis, got right into bed with climate change agenda. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. Yes, people should be good stewards of the earth. But how do you enforce that? And how far are you willing to go politically? How far are you willing to go politically? Speaking about the previous subject there, Flukeman says, if I'm not mistaken, Michelangelo designed and made the statue of David. Yes, he carved it by hand. While the guy designed the 12-foot black lady was made by someone else who was paid to do it. And that's often how that goes. You draw it up and then someone else cuts the pieces. And I'll keep putting that through. There's another one there from All People. So, yeah, he's already in on the climate agenda. It says, while Francis famously told reporters, "Who am I to judge gay people?" and said homosexuals must be integrated into society, Leo XIV is less accommodating. In a 2012 address to bishops, Prevost accused the news media and popular culture for encouraging sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. Among those beliefs and practices Prevost cited were homosexual lifestyles and alternative families of same-sex partners adopting children. So we'll see if he still feels that way now. So he's against homosexuals and same-sex couples raising children. And he goes on to say the promotion of gender ideology is confusing because it seeks to create genders that do not exist. So he's also against the trans agenda, or has been in the past. So again, it remains to be seen whether or not he continues to feel that way. If he continues to feel that way. So we'll see if he changes his tune like Francis did, again, about pursuing pursuing priests, bishops, and other church officials who had put their hands on young people. Again, you know what I'm talking about. In 2015, Provost posted a photograph from the March for Life rally in Chicago, exhorting his followers, let's defend human life at all times. And that is about abortion. He is indicating that he is pro-life in that statement. So he claims to be pro-life. We'll see if he still is. That's one that most Catholic leadership is afraid to cross the line on. And a cult prepper doesn't like the idea of the Pope. I'll put that up there for you, occult. In his homily, Dolan urged Catholics to reclaim the belief that the mother's womb is the primal sanctuary where a helpless, innocent, fragile, tiny baby is safe, secure, nurtured, and protected. So hopefully he stays with that. Capital punishment. Oh, see, he lost me here. Provost has expressed opinion, and again, that's Pope Leo. Opposition to capital punishment, reflecting the Catholic Church's position and Francis's commitment to see the practice end worldwide. Quote, it's time to end the death penalty. But I will remind you, the death penalty is biblical. And there's the Catholic Church telling you to turn against something that has biblical principle. Peter says once these people get into these positions, they get a visit and shown a photo. What's that in your mouth? Oh, no. And Tuck has joined us. Sven says it's the I'm the humble as you know what look. Yeah, it's this fake. Like I said, it looks like they're trained to do it. They all look like that. All of these, all of the hierarchy of Catholic leadership. If you look at them, it's all like this, and their eyebrows are up, and they almost look like, you know, confused or frightened. Oh, peace and wisdom. Yeah, sure. Please. Yeah, all people, says Washington Carver notified the public of the wide variety of uses for peanut byproducts. Many of the farmers of every race in the South were losing money from growing peanuts, which is a legume, correct? Johnny wants to know what's up with the hands. I can't stand it when people pose with the hands like that. Just stand normal with your hands at your side. Well, because you're trying to look humble and pious. It's like, oh, and you have to put your hand like this and you put your other hand by your chin. I'm so honest and humble. Can't you tell? And maybe I should sit there like this all day, and I'll talk like this, and I'll do this every once in a while. And every once in a while, I'll do that. And then maybe I'll do this. Oh, no. Oh, my God. So, again, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the idea of getting rid of capital punishment. It's caused a lot of problems. He also is pro gun control. He's also pro gun control. He's talked about that. So he's pro gun control, pro choice, anti LGBT lifestyle. So he claims so far. Pro climate change. Did I miss one? Did I miss one? I might have missed one. But I don't trust all of that. And again, we'll see where he stands with it. And again, yes, I think you should be good stewards of the earth and take good care of it and not destroy it and leave a mess behind everywhere you go. But the whole climate agenda, it's not really for helping all of that. It's not really helping with all of that. And the climate agenda cannot be trusted, and him being attached to it is a problem for me. And again, it's all very political anyways. It's all very political anyway, so I don't trust any of that. A pope, I don't care. I'm not Catholic. I don't believe in Catholicism. And many of the things that the Catholic Church does go against biblical principles. Church on Sunday against biblical principle, because that's not the Sabbath day. A man forgiving you of your sins, absolving you, not biblical. There's a lot of things. And capital punishment is a biblical tenet. And Paul's joined us. Glad you could make it. Capital punishment is not a deterrent to crime. It's to prevent a public menace from also becoming a public burden. I've talked about that many times. So somebody goes and kills 12 people, and then he gets sentenced to life in prison. And in some states, even gets conjugal visits. Have I got a story for you? You're going to see this in a minute, because it ties in with what I'm talking about. And you get to pay for him to get 3 hots and a cot for the next 60 years until he drops dead. Now he's a public burden because your tax dollars are paying for that. Your tax dollars are paying for that. Now, where's that story? Here it is. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is a story. This took place in California. Okay. Sven says pro-gun control is pro-slavery, and pro-climate means he is a grift. Yeah. Johnny says that's why the Bible said not to plant in the 7th year. Yeah, crop rotation. And one more here, and I'll open the article. A cult says if he's for gun control, I'm automatically going to protest against the new so-called Pope. Indeed. And RT says, how can you be pro-choice and against the death penalty? No, he's pro-life. Did I say it backwards? But I don't think I've ever heard a Catholic Pope go against that tenet. Yeah, he's pro-life. So get this story, and this ties in exactly with what I was just talking about with the death penalty. This is a California story, New York Post article. Mass murderer strangles wife during conjugal visit. Oh my God, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. A mass murderer strangled his wife during a conjugal visit in California, according to prosecutors. Yeah. David Brinson, already serving life for 4 murders, claimed that his wife, Stephanie Dowles, a 62-year-old grandmother, had fainted when she was found dead after an unsupervised overnight visit last November at the Mule Creek State Prison near Sacramento. An investigation showed that she had been throttled, and her death is ruled a homicide, according to prosecutors. And this is a picture of her. That's Stephanie Dowles, 62-year-old, and that was the inmate's wife. And Peter said, too many innocent people put to death. How do we address this? And don't forget the justice system is corrupt. That's the problem. I've talked about that before. But there are instances like this guy where you know for sure there's no shadow of a doubt. And there isn't even the option in California for the death penalty. There are people where you absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt. And now she's dead too. So he's up to 5 that they know of. And this is the guy, David Brinson, who's serving consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for shooting 4 people in 1994. Prosecutors said they're waiting for cops to wrap up the investigation before they file further charges against the husband, who's already serving life without possibility of parole. We just read that part. It was not immediately clear how long the pair had been married, and Dowell's children are demanding to know how she could be left alone with a known violent killer, because California allows for conjugal visits with your spouse. Okay. So not only in state of California, again, not only is there no death penalty, and they know this guy's guilty, and he shot 4 people and killed them. All right. And he's been convicted of armed robbery as well. She gets to stay with him alone all night. And then in the morning, they come in and she's dead. Oh, yeah, she passed out. And then they find out that she was choked to death. Nature Nerd wants to know if the Pope being American benefits America by promoting U.S. values to a billion people. Hardly. I mean, when's the last time that guy was in America? He was born in Chicago, but he spent more than 30 years in Peru and then moved to the Vatican. So when was he, how American is he, honestly? And a cult says that Stephanie didn't deserve to end her life like that. I don't think so. She doesn't look like a hard person. You know what I mean? Look at her face. For those of you who can see it. She doesn't have the face of a hard person. She has very soft features. So I doubt that she was so bad. Anyways, but yeah, she didn't deserve that. And that's exactly it. Johnny said he has nothing to lose. So there you go. He's never leaving anyways. They haven't even bothered to prosecute him yet, because what the hell's the point? Where the hell's he going to go? He's never leaving the system anyways. And California taxpayers are going to pay for him to live until he drops dead in prison. He's not getting out. He's never getting out. So what does he care? What does he care? Oh, but the law says you got to treat them like human beings. You have to be humane. When people who are dangerous like this, that are in a supermax or something like that, they ought not to have contact with anyone. They should be individually contained and never have contact, because they kill people in these jails all the time because they don't care. They got nothing left anyways. I don't remember how many states allow for a conjugal visit. It's not very many. California is the main one, though. I'll keep posting your comments here, folks, so that you can, because I know sometimes the comments are hard to find, especially after the fact, when for people who watch this after the live portion. But that's something that never should have happened. And Big Red has joined us. He says, I've never heard of an overnight prison stay. Hey, California, folks. Luke Man wants to know, do you think victims of violent crimes should get to choose what happens to the culprits, even if it means they be a burden to society? That I'm not sure about, because you can't always account for the mindset of the individual who would make that decision, because you could have someone who's uber liberal who's like, let him go, he's learned his lesson, and then kills 5 people. So I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if that's such a great idea, but I do know that someone comes and breaks into your house and murders your family and you're the only survivor, and oh, you got justice because now they're going to jail. It doesn't quite fit. There's no justice there. They've tricked people into believing that's justice, the system, so that they can pay themselves through their prison industrial complex. Nature Nerd says Pakistan and India has biggest dogfight since World War II with 125 jets. I'm rooting for India. And it's already come from the executive branch that if India and Pakistan get into it, the U.S. is staying the hell out of it, which is a good thing. I also saw, and I don't remember his name. He's an Indian general, and he was asked about nuclear options, and his reply was, if Pakistan attempts to use a nuclear option, there will be no more Pakistan. That was his quote. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good. Oh my. Puck says the new Pope is American, the new PM is Canadian. That prime minister is American. I guarantee you he's probably spent more time in the United States than he has in Canada. Yeah, there you go, Johnny. He says, I say no because I've seen a lot of victims say I forgive them because the Bible says to forgive them. Bible also says to stone them at the gates. Washington Post article. Here's some corruption for you. Texas Attorney General says judge and other officials have been arrested for vote harvesting crimes. Here we go again. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Wednesday said 6 individuals, including a county judge and a former elections administrator, have been indicted and arrested for what Paxton described as fraudulent vote harvesting schemes in the state's Frio County. As part of a broader investigation, Latino civil rights leaders have criticized as politically motivated. Yeah, I'm sure they have. According to Paxton's announcement, 5 people have been charged with counts of vote harvesting, while 1 individual is charged with tampering or fabricating physical evidence. Further details of the case have not been provided so far. Several public officials are among those arrested, including Frio County Judge Rochelle Camacho, not Macho Camacho, Rochelle Camacho, former Frio County Elections Administrator Carlos Segura, 2 Purcell City Council members, and a school board member. Segura and Purcell City Council member Ramiro Trevino declined comment. Other defendants did not respond to requests for comment or could not otherwise be reached. The Texas Attorney General has long echoed President Trump's baseless claims of widespread election fraud and is engaged in aggressive prosecutions for alleged election fraud crimes that have upended lives but resulted in few cases that went to trial and ended in a conviction. So I guess I could see the direction that the Washington Post wants to go in with this article. But the bottom line is you've got 6 political figures in Texas, Democrats, by the way, that are tangled up in fabricating evidence, that would probably be the judge, and on manipulating voting information. And no matter how the Washington Post wants to spin it. What's wrong, Big Red? You don't like Indian street food? I put his comment up there. But never eat street food anywhere outside of the Western world. Trust me. Occult says he's worried about the India-Pakistan thing. They're both dumpsters of countries, and if they nuke each other, we're in for the fallout for the world's largest dumpster fire. It's an interesting point. And Hostile is here. Glad you could make it today. Yeah, he says, long time no see. Indeed. Peter says it's interesting how Trump puts one fire out and they start another one. Ukraine looks like it's winding down, so they kick off in India. Yeah. And Nature Nerd says Pakistan wants to expand its territory into Kashmir. Not Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, Kashmir the country, which is probably one of their best songs from Physical Graffiti. And they've been arguing about Kashmir for a long time, a really long time. They can have it. I don't even know why anybody wants it. I don't know what they think they're going to do with all of that. I don't know what they think they're going to do with all of that. As we cascade through these. And I have for you some interesting information, because you know I love talking about AI and robotics. I've got some interesting stories about robots. I'm always telling people they're going to take your jobs. And everybody always sits there and whines about it. Oh, that's not going to happen. People are just going to get better technical jobs and they're going to learn how to fix these machines. No, they're not. People aren't that smart. If somebody's bagging groceries, they're bagging groceries for a reason. Okay? If somebody collects shopping carts for a living, there's a reason. Not everybody is capable of learning technical jobs or high-end maintenance jobs. And the only reason that you get a robot, yeah, Peter says learn to code. Hey, most of the people I've ever worked with, they're not capable of it, Peter. They're not capable of it. They're not going to learn it. They're not going to learn it. The only reason that you replace people with machines or computers or programs is because you want to reduce your workforce for a variety of reasons. Now, put that one up from Nature Nerd. This is the Independent talking about Amazon, and Amazon's at the forefront of this because they're tired of people in their warehouses complaining, and they've been systematically replacing them. Every time they put up a new Amazon warehouse, there's fewer and fewer employees and more machines. Amazon reveals a new robot that can feel, and it will be packing your deliveries now. It has a sense of touch, so it can handle delicate objects more easily. Amazon has made a robot that can feel the items that it picks up, and what it says is a major leap forward for robotics. The new system, called Project Vulcan, has a sense of touch that allows it to feel an item so it's able to safely pick it up. Amazon is already using this system to sort and pack deliveries alongside a fleet of other robots. Vulcan is now available to handle around 3/4 of the millions of products that the e-commerce giant offers, and can move stock at a speed comparable to human workers. And not just at a speed comparable to a human worker, but you don't have to pay them. You don't have to get them insurance. You don't have to worry about them calling in sick. You don't have to worry about them showing up late or going home early or wanting maternity leave or going slow on purpose or getting sick or getting into a fight with one of their coworkers or mouthing off at management. Aaron Parnas, Amazon's director of robotics and AI systems, said that Vulcan works alongside employees, and the combination is better than either on their own. Well, you just said that it's replaced 3/4 of the workforce in the place where you've set it up. So how are they working alongside of other employees? It's not just seeing the world, it feels it, enabling capabilities that were impossible for robots until now. The US firm said the development of the new type of robot was sparked by a desire to free up time for human staff. Yeah, they'll have plenty of time on the unemployment line, as well as improve safety and efficiency in its fulfillment centers. Yeah, they also don't make mistakes. They don't break things. They don't sabotage anything. I've talked about all this before. And as having been in management positions, I can tell you what a pain in the ass employees are. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all they want to replace everybody with robots. Peter says they don't need robots for checkouts at supermarkets. They've tricked masses into serving and packing it themselves. That's true. And Tuck says, to paraphrase Wilford Brimley, robots won't get sick, won't get old, and won't ever die. That's true. And, entertainment, movies, and television have been trying to warn us about this for damn near a century. What do you think the film Metropolis is about? Who's seen the silent film Metropolis? And they create a robot, and then he takes that robot and makes an android out of it to simulate a woman who is an agitator with the workers, to disrupt the workers. They kidnap the woman, swap them out, and she disrupts the workers at their union meetings. But then the robot gets its own ideas and goes in a completely different direction, where she was supposed to disrupt and discourage the workers from negotiating. She incited them to violence to destroy the machinery, and it almost killed everyone. She turned on the creator, got her own ideas, and went rogue. They've been warning us for damn near 100 years. Damn near 100 years. So now Amazon has robots that can feel things and handle more delicate stuff. And that's just another worker that's going to be bumped. Another worker that's going to be bumped, which has already happened here. And I'm going to go to a New York Post article. I'll keep putting your comments up here. And Big Red wants to know, does Amazon use the USPS to ship packages? UPS is falling a money pit. Have heard thousands of stories lately about baby chicks stuck in the mail and dying. Oh, that's terrible. Amazon has been replacing that with their own fleet. Around here, if you ordered something from Amazon, 9 times out of 10, an Amazon truck or an independent driver contracted through Amazon is going to make the delivery. Let's go to this Post article talking about the same subject. Robots run a burger restaurant and will serve your meal within 27 seconds. When it comes to flipping burgers, robots are making mincemeat out of their human competition. Check out this newly opened Burger Bots in California's Silicon Valley, where a fully automated line cooks churn out meat pucks in 30 seconds with no sleep, bathroom breaks, or hair in your food. The vision was to bring consistency, transparency, and efficiency to food service, according to Elizabeth Trong, creator of the innovative concept, located in the Tony and techie town of Los Gatos. For restaurant owners, it means better visibility of food costs, more accurate forecasting, and ultimately better decision making. And that's a picture of the machine, and the machine is called BurgerBot. Unveiled in collaboration with ABB Robotics, the shtick involves 2 cybernetic assembly droids working together in a special burger-making cell, assembling all-beef patty noshes with superhuman precision and speed, according to Interesting Engineering magazine. The process kicks off with a fresh-cooked meat puck slapped onto a bun inside of a box before getting ferried along a conveyor belt that's stamped with a QR code. As the food getting shuffled along, the intuitive flex picker, which is another droid, selects toppings including special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions, and lickety-spit utilizing the QR code's data. And that's what it'll look like. That's what it'll look like. So there you go. That's a full assembly line because they already got robots that can operate the fryer. They got robots that operate the soda machine. And they got robots that can assemble the sandwich, the burger. And you know what it makes me think of also? Speaking of sabotage, I worked with a guy at Frito-Lay who once upon a time was a McDonald's manager. And he was joking about working at McDonald's, saying you'd be surprised what those patties will absorb on the grill. Never piss off an employee in one of these restaurants because all sorts of nasty things will soak right into that burger. Yeah, Tuck says robots don't have kids or get cancer, have addictions, get in car wrecks on the way to work. Yeah. Absolutely. And Johnny says there's already robots at Walmart going down aisles taking inventory. Yeah. And they also have a lot of the Walmarts also have a mechanized Zamboni that waxes the floor. And Lucky says demons run AI. And Kelly is here, as well as Levi. But there's BurgerBots. And it sits right there, so you can see everything it does. And that's the idea of the transparency. You don't have to worry about anybody doing anything disgusting to your food because you pissed somebody off. There's nobody there. And it probably still wants a tip. Would you like to give 20%? Peter said real cooking is still an art. I agree. I agree. I know I'm way behind on comments. And in the off chance that one of these machines does go off the deep end, they can make quite a mess. They can make quite a mess. Kelly says their mom used to put love in the cooking. Robots can't do that. That's correct. That's correct. I'm sure you've seen this already, and this is a Daily Mail article coming up here about the robot that they were testing in China that went berserk and seemingly attacked the programmers. Daily Mail again says a humanoid robot filmed attacking its handler while trying to break free from restraints in a scene viewers have branded dystopian. In CCTV footage from a factory in China, the robot, which is attached to a miniature crane, is seen violently swinging its arms back and forth as it flew into what looks like a rage, lashing out at a man sitting nearby at a computer who had to duck while another man standing behind the robot had to back away. The robot, seemingly of its own accord, raised arms in the air and brought them down again, repeating the motion with increasing speed and violence. It then began walking forward as it thrashed around in an apparent bid to break free from the crane. The men can be seen flinching and cowering while raising their arms to shield their faces. As the computer monitor toppled to the floor, other items were knocked over from the desk as the men attempted to flee from the out-of-control robot. Eventually, one of the men pulled the crane from behind in a bid to stop the ongoing destruction. And I believe I have the film footage here. Let me see if I can play this clip. I'll expand this for you. I think this is the clip. I'll try to get it to work. So, like I said, I'm sure some of you may have seen this by now. If it opens, and everything is slowing down here. But it's not known if it was a glitch in programming or a power surge, or maybe this thing just got tired of them and became violent or lashed out. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to open. It's acting up quite a bit on the screen there. I would have liked to have shown it to you, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Oh, well. Like I said, I'm sure you guys have probably seen this. Some of you might have seen this, and I'm sure you can find it on the internet. There's the still photos. I'll scroll down to where you see the still photos, and you can see it is hanging from a crane, and it's just wildly swinging its arms, and it's trying to walk. And they had to duck from it so that they wouldn't be injured. And they have not provided yet an explanation as to why that happened. Like I said, it could have been a power surge. A power surge will make, if you've got something that's mechanical, it'll start just winding very rapidly. So that's very possible. Also, it could have been, like I said, a glitch in the programming. Peter suggests here it could have been a hack. That's possibly. Or who knows? Maybe the Matrix. Oh, is it working? Hold on. Here we go. Now you can see the footage. See? It raises its arms and then all hell breaks loose. There it goes. Look at that thing. Karate chopping all over the place. Trying to look and walking at the same time until they could get around behind it and got hold of the crane and pulled it out of the way. Let me see if that'll run again. This is being really buggy. I guess Skynet doesn't want you to see this. Lucky says Flippy. Yeah, Flippy is that machine that cooks burger patties. Flippy's the machine that cooks burger patties. Nature says, if in the future, could we make a percentage of profits with the robots we own on the work they do? I wonder. And Puck Flukeman, excuse me, reminds us that many Chinese products are unreliable. And that Pakistan had to ground Chinese jets. Let me shut this down. It's not working right. Sorry, folks. At least you got to see it once. And Brian made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Brian. Very much appreciated. As you all well know, all donations typically go to taking care of our shelter pets. Here's one of them. Granny Smith stayed on the desk the whole time, napping here with me. Poor little Granny Smith. She's happy now, but thank you again, Brian. And Kelly said human error caused a father and son to die at a local refinery. That's another reason to have robots. If something happens to it, nobody cares outside of how much it costs to replace. But with that, we're at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get to the debt clock and see where we are at. Closing out here. Currently, Doge has a projection of $411 billion in savings. $411 billion in savings. It looks like it'll hit 412 by tonight, by this evening. So there we go. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Most of the time on Coffee Talk and Prepper University on YouTube. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. So special thanks, of course, to Brian for making a donation to the channel to help out our shelter cats. Again, I'm currently taking care of 15. And Kelly says, I'm sorry I missed the beginning, but I'm a subscriber now. Well, thanks for joining us, Kelly. And of course, it's saved. So you can go back to the YouTube channel and find it later if you wanted to catch up. But thank you, everybody else, for joining us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation. And we will catch you again on Monday.